Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us this evening. What a privilege it is to represent the OAFP. My name is AuBree LaForce. I am a fourth-year medical student at Northeast Ohio Medical University. And this month, I have had the honor to become the OAFP's Family Medicine Program Specialist. So in this role, I've been able to connect with the family medicine interest groups to really get to know the faculty that is behind the scenes of the OAFP that keep us all together and really learn a little bit more about organized medicine. It's been such a great experience. And part of this experience, I get to also reach out to other students that are doing leadership in other avenues. So tonight I have with me a fellow NEOMED student, Jacob Brock, goes by Jake, and he is here to share a little bit of his story, his leadership, and what he is doing as a future family medicine physician. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jake Brock.
Hi, guys. As AuBree said, my name is Jake Brock. I am a third year over at NEOMED. Obviously interested in family medicine. That's my number one choice right now. Rotating through all the specialties now and kind of seeing what medicine's all about. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight. Thanks for everybody watching. So as AuBree said, we're going to go a little bit into like leadership topics and kind of my experience. And I'm in a program called Emerging Leader Institute with the AAFP, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I know AuBree's done a lot of stuff with leadership as well, specifically with like the free clinic at NEOMED and such, and other things. So this is kind of how I see it. It's going to be kind of like a podcast. If you guys enjoy podcasts, it's something I like to just listen to passively. Kind of like tell a story, tell my story, tell you, what our leadership experience has been, what it's like for medical students, the opportunities that there are, and kind of what the culture is now for students. So that's kind of the plan for tonight. AuBree, and cut in if you want to add anything with that, but that's kind of how I see it.
It should be an awesome time tonight. Feel free to leave anything in the chat, any questions that you want. I'm not sure who's all watching, but if you are a physician, if you're a student, if you're a fan, I doubt there's any of those out there, but feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll try to get to them as best as we can. Both Jake and I, as he said, have leadership roles at NEOMED, in the SOAR clinic, which we will talk about, also in the OAFP, and then most recently, both of us have larger roles in the AAFP, which is the American Academy of Family Physicians. So Jake, let me start by asking you about this new opportunity you have with the Emerging Leader Institute. Tell us a little bit more about what that is. And for those of you listening, the Emerging Leader is part of the AAFP.
Right. So the Emerging Leader Institute, as you mentioned, is something that the AAFP, American Academy of Family Physicians, started. And the goal of this program is to mentor and bring about students or residents that show leadership potential and to help them develop that and hopefully take the reins of leadership in the field of family medicine in the future. So basically how it works is there's 30 students and residents that are chosen around the country that are chosen based on their leadership experience and based on some essays and letters of recommendation, things like that show that you have leadership potential, you have experience in leadership, people recommend you, and that sort of thing, and that you have a strong interest in primary care and family medicine. So I was lucky enough to be elected a physician in this group, along with another NEOMED student. Luckily, as I said, it's pretty competitive to get into. Not to float my own boat, but I was really surprised when I got chosen, just because it's 30 people out of all medical students and all family medicine residents that are chosen for this group. But basically, as I said, like we're trained to hold a leadership position later on in our career. So basically how it works, usually we have to make exceptions because of COVID, obviously, but we go to the national conference and they give us a scholarship for this to attend the national conference and to go on an extended weekend during this time in July, and to go about training, the leadership training for along with the conference. So we had to do it differently this year. We had to do everything online, but basically it was still the same thing. The This program isn't necessarily just teaching you, okay, here are leadership skills that we want you to emulate, that we think are really important. There are those things, but part of being in this program is you've already had leadership experience, you've already been in that, and so you really already know those characteristics of a good leader. Really, a big focus of it is they want to prepare you to do a 9-month project with a mentor, with a mentor in the AAFP. So this was my first experience with the AAFP, and I was blown away with some of these docs. I mean, they're heavy lifters in their fields. They're extremely successful, extremely humble people, and it was such a privilege to work with them. One of them, Beth Oler, is a rural family doc from Kansas, and she ended up being my mentor. And she helped me pick my project, which is based on leave of absences and its impact on burnout. So diving into what this project is all about too, there's 3 tracks. One of them is a public health track. The other one is a mission-driven practice. And the third one is the personal well-being, which is what I was about. So during that weekend that we had the conference, we learned about information about burnout, physician burnout, specifically for primary care docs, family med docs, and also we also learned about medical malpractice, things like that you don't. I never really learned about it in medical school, so it's just good to know like what you're getting into when you get into practice and the realistic part of it. And so, like I said, we got to work with these physicians. It was a small group, just 10 of us in that track, along with like 3 or 4 experienced family docs. And we gotta learn what they had to say about those things, and then we have a 9-month project based on that. So as I mentioned, mine's on the impact of leave of absence on burnout, and we're going to go into this a little bit more. But this was a big passion of mine because of my life story and the turns that it took. I'll admit, like I'm very passionate about the stuff that I do. I'm a very happy med student. Surprisingly, I really do enjoy doing what I do every day. And I think a big part of that is because I took 2 years off between undergrad and medical school, and I got to kind of live my life outside academia. So to rewind and kind of give you my life story, I'll make it quick. Is just I grew up in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, which is a suburb of Akron, and I just grew up with a single father and my sister there, and ended up going to school locally in the University of Akron, studied biomedical engineering, and got a minor in Spanish. And I also got to study abroad during that time, which was super impactful for me. And then I knew that I wanted some time off between undergrad and medical school. So I took 2 years off. I knew I still wanted to go to medical school, but I wanted that time outside academia. So my first year, I actually went to Peru, and that's where I did my study abroad originally. I went to Peru and I worked with kids in lower economic status, socioeconomic status, that were basically it's extreme poverty. It's a poverty that we don't really see in the United States, just because of the severity, and there's no real government assistance. So I got to work in a school that was largely centered around them, and I got to be a volunteer coordinator and help bring the volunteers in, make sure they're comfortable with the area. It was in a mountain town named Juarez, and so I worked in there for 4 months, and I really enjoyed it. I did a lot of personal growth during that time. I'm actually going to share my screen while I do this and show you some of these pictures. So hopefully you guys can see this. This is a picture of the school that I worked at. And yeah, it was a school with about 50 kids, more or less, that would come when they could, and at age from 3 to 18. and basically it acted like a supplement to their schooling, and their schooling wasn't nearly like the quality as it is in the United States. So we got to really like work with them one-on-one. An incredibly challenging thing to do, especially with the language barrier, but it was also very eye-opening, and I really did enjoy it. And then this is some of the friends I made along the way while during my trip in Peru. And it's an international environment. So these people, I mean, so he's from Germany, she's from Canada, she's Peruvian, and he's from Michigan. So a lot of diversity in the people that I worked with. And then, so I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. Going back. And we'll do that work, by the way. I wanted to make sure my
yeah, you're great. Yep, it worked.
Good.
Yep.
So sorry to ramble, but that was one thing that I did during my years off. The next thing I did is I hit my life goal of through hiking the Appalachian Trail, which I know is a huge interest.
Sorry, I do not mean to cut you off, Jake, but really quickly, before you go into that, because I want to really highlight that. I just want to ask you a couple questions about the emerging leader thing before you go into your 2 experiences abroad, because those are so impactful to what your project and your passion is.
Sure,
but in terms of the emerging leader, what got you involved? Why did you take that step and apply to the AAFP? Did you start in the OAFP? Did you just jump right into the AAFP? How did that transition look like? And did you have certain mentors along the way that encouraged you to take a leadership opportunity?
Sure. So I had actually not been involved in the OAFP yet. I did my Leroy Rogers project during my first year of med school with Dr. Jeffrey Bechtel, and he was super involved in the OAFP. He's the previous president, and he really wants to get me involved. But my thing is that I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, and I was super involved in everything else with like the free clinic and everything else. So I was not involved with the OAFP, the AAFP either. I didn't have much experience with. So I just saw the opportunity to apply, and it's something I really wanted to do. I mean, I'm working one-on-one with a mentor who is a member of the AAFP, and I'm working on a project that I'm really passionate about. So that was really the motivation behind it. I wanted to get that experience. I wanted to work with a mentor. I definitely want to explore leadership opportunities in the future in this field. So that was my motivation behind it.
Awesome. We are so lucky that you kind of took that leap of faith and kind of went out and did that leadership opportunity, because as we both know, we need as many family medicine leaders, especially new student leaders. I know that is why I've taken so many leadership roles myself, is because I love family medicine with my whole heart. I live it, I breathe it, and I think it is such a powerful specialty of medicine that is so integral in the community and such an important aspect in everybody's life. So the more leadership we have, the more faces of medicine we have in the community, and in your case, abroad, and your total interest and passion of global health, which is incredible. My focus almost is very the underserved population, not only my own community, but where I will end up doing residency. But to see your interest in the global health aspect and to go beyond borders and to think abroad is so impactful and so awesome to see. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. You were going there. I cut you off a little bit to bounce back to your leadership roles, but I would love to hear about your other experiences abroad, and then touch base with you back about how it relates to what your actual project is too.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, sorry, I will ramble if you let me ramble forever. I'm one of those people. So please feel free to cut me off as you need to.
No, you're fine. You're doing great.
Yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned, I took those 2 years off. Went to Peru. Really wanted to improve fluency in Spanish. You know, do my service, learn from immersion there, and just experience a different culture. Again, I did it in undergrad. Was there for 5 months being an exchange student, and then I knew I wanted to go back. I knew I wanted to do the service piece. I knew I wanted to increase my fluency with Spanish, and just build connections with the people down there too. It's just, you get such a different life experience from these people, and being able to communicate in their native language and like hear their story is so powerful that you like it's really changed me as a person. I've been able to have great conversations with with individuals and kids and the teachers down there, and it's very powerful. Um, so yeah, and as I was saying before, I through hiked the Appalachian Trail. That was a life goal of mine that I wanted to do. I did that after I was in Peru, and it took me 4 months. So it's just me backpacking. As for people who don't know, I started in Georgia, and I backpacked north 2,200 miles up to Maine, and it took me about 4 months and 3 days, and it was the best time of my life. Not really, it's really difficult, but like it is such an adventure. I loved it, and I miss it every day. So it just that's another life experience that was just it's outside academia. I grew a ton as a person. I met so many different people along the trail, and that's what I'm super passionate about. It's like how do I go outside my comfort zone, my the space that I'm in every day in Northeast Ohio, and go see what else is out there, and it just helps you widen your perspective and see life differently. So that's what I did, and that's what my project's really oriented to, this leave of absence, and that's what I want to see is physicians taking this time off realistic? Can people take 3-4 months off to do this kind of abroad trips, global health? Maybe they just want to spend more time with their family or whichever. So I'm looking at policies of these physician hiring groups, the hospitals, whether or not physicians are interested in it, and that sort of thing. So
Awesome. No, that sounds so great. And it's refreshing to hear that medical students are taking time to explore other avenues. I know personally, I am the only one in my family that is in medicine. So medical school, I chuckled when you said, I am a happy medical student, because I also think that I am a very happy medical student. I have enjoyed every step of the way. I have not been miserable. I've just really loved every single opportunity that I've been given but I will say I'm a happy med student because I do more things outside of academia, like you were talking about. It's so important. And when you said you were going to do, your emerging leader project on burnout, I got so excited because yes, it's talked about, but it's hard to understand, how to prevent it, and that it's okay to do things outside of academics. I am an avid sports fan, and I still play sports. And so when I left medicine and visited with family, I really left my studies where they were at school, and then really separated myself and was able to do things outside of medicine. And I think that's really important, and especially important for other students to hear as well, that it's doable. There's enough information in medicine as a whole that we could study every single day, every moment of the day. There is enough information, and we could easily do that. And some students do, and more power to them. But there is such a power in getting outside of medicine and outside of your comfort zone and doing things out in the community. And so I am so excited that you also share a similar passion for exploring. I did a mission trip in Peru this summer between my first and second year of medical school. I went to Peru, and we served the population of Ayacucho, and that was an incredible experience. So I also can relate in that regard, and it really puts things in perspective and gives you, it humbles you, it grounds you, it makes you realize why you're doing it and how lucky you are to really have the opportunity to do it in the first place. So with that being said, let's hear a little bit more about your project.
yeah, so yeah, I agree. That's awesome, AuBree. Mission trips like that are great to do to kind of gain that perspective, and I'm happy to hear you've enjoyed your time in med school and also the time you've spent outside of academia to kind of grow your experience and enjoy yourself. But yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm doing my project on leave of absence and the impact and on burnout and the attitudes of family docs specifically towards this leave of absence. So that being said, one thing I did want to leave you guys with is I'm going to ask, I'm not sure if I can do it or if the administrators can help me with it, but there's a survey that I want to share with you guys that is for family physicians specifically, for them to share their attitudes towards leave of absence. And it takes 2 minutes to do, just to see what your attitude and what you think of leave of absence, whether it's realistic, what would encourage you to do it, what would not, what would be obstacles to it, and that sort of thing. So I just ask if you can take 2 minutes and fill that out and just let me know what you think. It'd be super helpful and I would really appreciate it.
So to reiterate that, Jake needs your help. So please fill out the survey, and it would be greatly appreciated. I know that leave of absence or maybe just a little bit of time off has probably gone through many of our heads. I know it's, popped into mine when I was grinding and studying for boards. I'm sure it's popped into many of the physicians that are watching or watching the recording of this. So we would really love it. I know that his project and that Emerging Leader Institute is such a powerful experience, and really physicians can learn a lot about students and students doing research in that. So we would love your help if you could fill out that survey, and I know Jake will really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so thank you for explaining your project, Jake. Now I'm gonna transition a little bit into being a medical student right now. I know I get a lot of questions, oh my gosh, what's it like? Or physicians will tell me, I can't imagine being a medical student right now. For those of you who don't know, everything from a fourth year perspective, everything changed. So to give everyone a little background, fourth year, you have different electives and you get to go to somewhere new every month. So every 4 weeks, you do something new and you have control over that. So you get to pick the electives that really interest you. So for example, I'm in the rural pathway at NEOMED. I have a strong passion to serve rural and underserved communities. And so I was going to go to Valdez, Alaska, all of September, and do a rural medicine rotation there with the past president of the AAFP. I was also going to Houston and Nashville and all over the country because this was my time to do it. Well, we all know that nobody can plan a pandemic, and that is exactly what happened. So one, I learned very quickly how to be flexible and go with the flow and realize that I'm not in control. None of us were in control. So it was just time to go with it and to change all plans around. So I did what had to be done and I changed my whole schedule. And so I am in Ohio for every rotation. And although that's been a challenge and a little bit unfortunate, it's taught me a lot of things. It's taught me, the power of being flexible, the power to understand what it's like to work with other people in a very timely manner, to collaborate with other people, to think of different ideas and ways to do different rotations, to do them virtually. For example, if COVID wouldn't have happened, I would not have been doing this elective with the OAFP, which has been such a blessing. So with everything in life, there is something positive to come about, and that's what happened with this COVID pandemic. Everything is now in Ohio and virtual. Moving forward into residency season, every single one of my interviews is virtual. So I'm not even allowed to go and see the places that I am applying to. I'm not allowed to see their hospital systems or their outpatient clinics, which is also going to be a challenge, but also something that I'm excited to learn through and really use other resources to make it a positive experience, because that is the only way that that's going to happen. But a couple things, more positives than negatives. I think that as a medical student, we are very rigid in our ways. We know what needs to be done. We have a very clear set out path for us. We have this class to pass and this test, and because that's how the real world happens. And so it's been really a great learning experience. And then working with the OAFP, I have seen such powerful women in the faculty, their commitment to the specialty and their collaboration and their ability to go with the flow and to be such positive advocates for what's happening right now, and just trying to put on a positive face every day has been really, really awesome and refreshing to see. So Jake, I know that you are not a fourth year, you're a third year. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it hasn't been as bad on my end as it has been for your class. So it was we as you guys know, COVID started in March, and that's around the same time that we start dedicated study for step one. So basically we were going into hibernation anyway, and we're going to just study all day every day by ourselves. So really the first few months didn't really matter that much, except that all the testing centers decided to cancel half of the applicants or half the test takers' seats, and you basically had to find another test date. And it was extremely stressful because there are absolutely no test dates within like 5 months, 6 months, and you just had to wait with having no date of when you're going to take your step one test, which is for family medicine's unique in that like step one doesn't matter too much. Obviously, you want to do well, but there's not as much emphasis as there are in other specialties. So some people are relying on a really good step one score, and when they got I was one of the people who got it canceled too. But when you get it canceled, your test date that you've been really pacing yourself for the whole way, it's very discouraging. And then they say, yeah, we don't have a date for you. You kind of just have to wait until one becomes available. Oh, by the way, there's not one available for 6 months. So you have to figure it out from there and hope that one pops up. Luckily, one did about 2 or 3 weeks after my original test date. And I was planning to go on vacation the day after my original test date, which was June 12th. And I was going to Outer Banks with my boyfriend at the time. And I was planning to propose that week. So it was extra stressful because I had that stress on me. And for anyone who has ever had to propose to someone, it's like, especially for like someone who's type A and wants everything to go perfectly, that was probably more stressful than preparing for step one in itself. And then I took the vacation in the middle of dedicated, and I'm just like, even if I'm not going to do perfectly on step one, like I'm going to propose to my boyfriend during this time because that's kind of more important, or just as important as taking step one. So that's what I did and ended up working out. But now it's things are mostly normal. I mean, there's restrictions in the hospital, as everyone knows, but it's really not that bad. I'm still getting a great education.
Congratulations, by the way. That is so exciting.
Thanks.
And I'm so glad that you were able to pivot around life craziness and the pandemic and put things in perspective of, what makes us happy and what is important to us. I know that when I was going to take step one, 2 weeks before, my grandpa felt very, very ill. He was in Oklahoma at the time, and we knew he only had about a week left. So I took the week off and went and spent the last moments with him and took my white coat and it got to say goodbye in my white coat. And so that moment I will cherish forever. And it's really important for medical students to put things in perspective and realize that life is so much more important than a test score. So it's really awesome to hear that you also thought that. I think that it's easy as medical students to get caught up in a score, in perfectionism, in doing the best we can and not settling, which in some regards is why we get through medical school, but in others, it's really important to take a step back and realize what the bigger picture is and why life things that are of more importance. So that's awesome that you did that. I'm so proud of you for taking that time off.
Yeah. Right.
To tell everybody a little bit about, thank you. To tell everybody a little bit about both of our involvement, we both are involved with the student-run free clinic at NEOMED, which is also a leadership opportunity that we both are really passionate about. This student-run free clinic, it's held, I think now 3 Saturdays a month, right, Jake?
4.
Or is it 4 now? Okay, so it was only like 1 or 2 when I started, and then we're all the way up to 4 Saturdays a month, which is so incredible. So Jake and I have had leadership in that as well. And we volunteered our Saturdays throughout medical school to serve the underserved population of the Rootstown and surrounding communities, which has been absolutely awesome and rewarding, and has really allowed us to kind of be, think quick on our feet and get a real taste of what it's like to be a resident and an actual physician, and the mentorship we've gained from that as well. Physicians volunteering their time and just being such great teachers all the time, and really showing us that once we're out in practice, we can come back and teach, and we can still be involved in the ever-changing evolution of medicine, which is really cool to see. And then also, I will lead that into kind of our closing remarks about why we think it's important to be leaders in medicine, and why we have gone outside of our comfort zones to lead in these different roles. So, Jake, if you wouldn't mind sharing about what drives you and why do you want to be a leader in family medicine? And for example, why did you apply to do the Emerging Leader Institute?
Sure. So it's definitely multifactorial, as I'm sure for you as well in your leadership roles, and really anyone who takes a leadership role. I'm someone who likes to push the envelope and push myself to see what I can do with, whether it's physically, my career, or whatever else. I like to challenge myself and see the impact that I can have, and that's something that I enjoy doing. So that was definitely part of it, but I would say more so, I really, the organizations that I volunteer for and I take leadership roles in, I really believe in those organizations. And I've seen leaders that have done things so well, and they're incredibly inspiring. And I've also seen them done very poorly. So I definitely want to be on the spectrum, on the other end of the spectrum, where things are done very well, and to inspire people behind me or below me who are still climbing the ranks, who are just starting medical school or whichever, to help build them up, and to take my position or to take some other position that they like in the future. And I really want the people that are on my team in these organizations to have a good experience, because I've had such a good experience with the SOAR clinic and with the family medicine interest group, which I know you were a leader in also, AuBree. So, and we can talk about that too, but those are the sorts of organizations that I've had really good experiences with, and I want to continue and give, other M1s or M2s or whoever the same kind of experience that I had.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful, and I'm almost glad that you've seen both sides of it. You've seen things go really well, and also not as you've planned. And so that's an important part of growing as a leader, is seeing what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So I'm really glad that you've leveraged that and allowed it to shape you into the leader that you are today. I know that all the people that know you and have worked with you have nothing but great things to say, as I do. I have worked with you in the family medicine interest group and the different retreats we've gone to and the different conferences, and it's been such an awesome experience to get to know you and to get to know your passions and your global health involvement and just everything you're doing. I'm so proud to be, I know I'm only 1 year ahead of you. I'm so proud to know you and to be a colleague, and we will both be alumni from NEOMED, which is super neat. To talk about a little bit why I became a leader in family medicine. My whole life, I've been an athlete. I've been, played varsity sports in high school, played collegiate basketball. I was the point guard. And so leadership has been a fundamental aspect of my life since the day I could walk. It's been ingrained in my being, and it's what has led me into medicine as well, and especially family medicine. Being a point guard and being a family doc is very similar, and it parallels in more ways than I've ever could imagine. And so it's all making sense now why I'm going into family medicine, because I've been training for it my whole life. But I chose leadership, and I chose to be involved in the AAFP because students' voices are so important, and the next generation of family medicine is what's going to make change. It's what's going to get people's attention. It's what's going to start the fire. I'm so passionate about family medicine because I was a health coach. I've been in patients' homes that are underserved. I've seen the power of collaboration, of joining forces. With the AAFP, I went to the AMA, which is the American Medical Association, and I was the medical student section delegate of the AAFP. So I was the student voice of all of family medicine. And I got to stand up there and I got to support different policies that were being passed and speak on the behalf of the AAFP and say, you know what, this is our policy. And yes, we support this resolution. And yes, I want to see this get passed on to the Congress and into actual medical policy. And to have the power to do that, all because I said yes. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I took opportunities that were given to me. When people recommended that I go for a position, I went for it. So if any students are watching this or do watch it, I would love for them just to take away the fact that always say yes to opportunities. You know, medical school can swallow you whole if you don't, go out of your comfort zone and really step outside of the books for a minute and look at the big picture, and to know that you have so much power as a student, especially in family medicine. Family medicine physicians and the faculty of the OAFP, they're there to support you. They've lifted me up in so many ways. I am on the foundation board of trustees for the OAFP. And oh my gosh, they've become a family. I was on the meeting yesterday with them, and I just get so excited to be around those people because they're so positive and encouraging, and they just want me to, take the leap of faith and go to the AAFP and to share my voice and my story and my passion for family medicine. So without rambling too much, I could talk about family medicine all night long, but I won't. But that is why I want to be a leader, because students' voices are heard. And, as I transition from a student to a resident, which is crazy, residents' voices are being heard. We are the future of family medicine. Our patients need us, and we have to advocate for the people that can't. We have the absolute privilege and honor and great blessing to be able to go to medical school and to talk for those, for our patients that can't talk, that don't have the power to. We have to collaborate with those that have the power to make change. And so as students, I know when I first started medical school, I thought of myself as the lowest on the totem pole, as they say, like I was just the student. But then as I found my voice and I found how important advocacy was, it was such an eye-opening experience, and I'm sure it has been for you. And I'm just so excited to see another student that is equally as passionate about family medicine as I am. So I'm really excited to see what you do your fourth year too.
Yeah, and I'll be asking your advice every step of the way too, like I had been.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm an open book, and if any students are watching this and you would like to connect with me or to talk to me about anything family medicine, leadership, applications, rotations, anything, I am so happy to share. And I would love to see the family medicine workforce expand and keep cultivating this fire and this passion for family medicine, because the patients need us to, and it's the greatest specialty in the world, and I will fight for that line till the day I die. So it's an awesome experience. So to wrap up, thank you all so much for joining us. If you're watching it live or if you're watching it recording, we appreciate it so much. And it's been such an honor to be a part of the OAFP this month. Don't forget to check out Jake's link because he needs all of your help about burnout and the different survey about the questions of burnout. Would you take it? What's your thoughts on it? What's your views on it? Would it help you? That way we can keep the conversation going on how we can maximize the physician's time and to prevent burnout. Even though I saw a survey the other day, and although people think family medicine docs are the most burnt out, they are not. So, but yes, we want your opinion, and Jake would love your help. So without further ado, Jake, if you have any closing remarks, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to the OAFP for giving me this opportunity, and this whole month long has been just an absolute honor, and it's been such a great experience.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Thank you guys for joining tonight. Thank you, AuBree, for hosting and sharing your experience and helping share my experience as well. And yeah, thank you guys. So that's about all I have.
Okay, have a great night, everybody. Bye.